Hello, my friends. I'm Evangeline.
And I'm Blair.
We've just finished up NaNoWriMo, and I bet a lot of you now have a first draft to edit.
Here are some tips as well as some insights on our writing processes.
Greetings. We are aliens from Planet Merp. Oh, wait, no. That was our other podcast. No, we're teen authors.
I'm Blair Wild, and my favorite animal is pigs.
I'm Evangeline Fox, and I'm actually a person.
No, but actually, we're high schoolers who like torture ourselves by writing thousands of words each day. So we figured we'd torture you too.
You're listening to Wild Fox Writing, where we talk about everything writing, reading, and books. Enjoy! Alright, we figured we'd start out this podcast by talking a little bit about our personal writing processes. Personally, I love editing. I know Blair does not agree with me. I actually have a tendency to try and edit my book while writing because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. However, that's not a great writing practice, and I've edited my editing process. Now my editing process often goes something like this. I'll write my first draft, which then I reread and I'll think about all the way that it is not so good. That first draft will inevitably end up in the trash. Not really, I keep it, but it will not be shown to anyone but myself. Yeah, I will often go on to rewrite a draft one or two more times, sometimes before I've completed the whole second or third draft of a book. This time around, after I've flunked two drafts, I'm plotting out my story first. After I finish my third draft, I self-edit. Oftentimes, it is important that I self-edit my book because sometimes I actually change up things about my plot halfway through and I have to cut out some scenes to make it make sense. Then I'll have other people look at it. In theory, I would edit my book again. However, I've never actually waited on a project long enough for any of my editing feedback to come back to me, so that's a future thing.
I would like to comment about your thing.
Okay.
I would like to say, I like how you said sometimes you start to rewrite it before you finish the whole second or third draft, because I do that too.
Yes.
And I did not write that down in my bullets. So when I say I write my second or third draft, sometimes it's half a second book, or it's half a second draft, and then I restart and make my third draft.
Yeah.
You know? Okay,
let's hear about yours.
Mine is, first of all, I personally hate editing, so I try to make it so I have to do as little as possible, because I am not a perfectionist, and yeah. I write my first draft. Sometimes I'll scrap it and write a completely new second or sometimes even third draft. Next, I read and edit it myself once. Then little note here. I find it motivating to have printed it all out and put it in a binder, because then I can take my colored pens and highlighters and edit it as much as my brain will tolerate. And then I have I'm like saying your name wrong. Evangeline edit it. Yes,
I love
editing.
editing.
Yes. And then I send it to all my friends who will edit it, or beta read it-ish, because I don't have beta readers, but they are my beta readers. They're also my editors because I am not my own editor that much. And then, finally, I go through all the edits, which are all such great ideas or feedbacks. I'm not good at talking today. And then it's ready to begin the process of recording. That is the extent I'll edit to. So I truly don't edit that much. I really only edit it twice or three times.
Yeah.
And yeah, I should edit it more often. Not more often.
Yeah.
More times, but I don't.
I feel like you and I are really opposite ends of extremes, where I over-edit and you...
I under-edit. I also cheat the system and give it to everyone else to edit.
That's not cheating the system. That is properly utilizing other people's pairs of eyes.
Yeah. And also, just gonna give a little explanation about my ideas on editing. So I dislike it, obviously, but I also find it boring, aggravating, and angering.
I find it fun, awesome, and amazing.
Okay. Agree to disagree. now we have some tips for editing.
Yep. So our first one is don't edit while you write.
Very important. Especially for the first draft, because you just want to get your ideas out and write a lot.
If you edit while you write, you'll just get frustrated and you'll feel sad.
And you'll get tired of writing, especially if you don't like editing. Although I don't know why you'd want to edit while writing if you don't like editing in the first place.
Yeah, it's more of an urge for you, my fellow perfectionists out there who want it all perfect the first time. Sadly, it cannot be perfect, and even if you're like, that was so terrible and I just want to go back and fix it now. Nope. Resist the urge. Resist the urge. Just write it all down. Don't go back and edit.
Maybe never go back and edit.
No.
Just send it to people.
Back to edit.
Actually, yeah, do edit. Okay. I'll tell you to do that. You should edit. Our next tip is to show other people your work, writers and readers.
Yeah. I definitely struggle with this because I don't want other people seeing what I wrote and learning how messed up my brain is, but then again, they probably already know.
See, though, I have the opposite idea. I think 7 times many people is awful. As awful. What I cannot speak. Send it to as many people as possible, so then you have less work to do because they can do it for you.
Yeah.
So like, the more people you send it to, the more like if they each are like doing 5% of the editing, you send it to like 10 of them. They already got half your editing done. You have to do half as much editing. This is the way my mind works.
Yeah, I love editing, but there is an importance to having another set of eyes on your work.
Definitely.
Because you don't always realize all the things that you have messed up on and things you could do better.
Especially since by the time you are sharing it with people, you've probably read it like once or twice, and when you're writing too, like you're writing it, you've seen it, so you're like used to the mistakes and you've like fixed them automatically, so your brain won't catch them, but others will.
Yeah, also I sometimes word things a bit confusingly, and while it makes sense in my own head because I was the one who said that many people would read it and go, what? What is she saying? So for that purpose, showing it to people is definitely key. Next one kind of goes hand in hand with our last one, and that is take constructive feedback. Yeah, I don't really know how to elaborate on this, but you need to take other people's ideas into consideration even if you feel salty about them, because they're a good representation of what other people might say about your book.
Yeah, especially if the people you're sending to are like your target audience. And I mean, if just one person has some problem with some part, it could just be them. But once like most of the people you're sending it to are all saying the same thing, maybe there's something you need to fix.
Yeah.
And then also, you should like in the editing process, sending it to people, it's a good way to get used to like getting your work out there and getting constructive criticism. Because like if you're aiming to publish, the whole world could see it.
Yeah.
So maybe
you'll definitely get some bad reviews no matter how good your book is.
Yeah. And if you're having your friends be your editors, then you'll get the constructive criticism in a nice way instead of all your haters online.
Yeah. Bonus.
Yeah. Tip number 4. Most of the time you'll want to write more than one draft.
Yeah, so basically most people's first drafts are not excellent.
They're awful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. When you're writing the first draft, you're just getting the words down. The first draft gives you a more detailed plan of where you're going, whether you're a pantser or a plotter. For pantsers, I'd say it's definitely essential that you rewrite, because half of the time when I'm writing, I start out thinking I'm going somewhere and I go somewhere else. So it is important that you write more than one draft, and your writing can really only improve from your first draft. Now, if you write 8 drafts and you have still not self-edited it or shown it to someone else, you have a problem, and you should probably
be done.
Have this be your last draft, edit it a bit, send it to people. You're done with that.
Yeah. And I had something to say. Oh yeah, especially if you're a pantser, you have probably wrote a billion plot holes into your first draft, in which case the next draft you'll have a better sense of where you're going, who your characters are, and you'll know to not write as many plot holes.
Yes, pantsers.
And then also, one more thing that I keep forgetting. I got this.
Come on, Blair.
Oh my gosh, this is taking me so long. Well, first of all, this is not the idea, but your next draft will definitely, no matter what, it'll probably be better than your first draft.
Yeah.
And, here was the thing I was going to say. Especially if it's either a standalone or the first book in a series. Because once you're onto, the next couple books in your series, you already know what you're doing and you know your characters and your setting. But if you're writing your first book and you're standalone, you'll definitely want more.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
And it can vary how many drafts you want to do before getting other people in on the process. I mean, some people have people reading their books from the first draft, but, yeah. Our 5th tip is don't over-edit, and obviously this is more of a problem for me than it is a problem for Blair. But, kind of like what we were saying, if you're writing 8 drafts and you haven't shown it to anybody and you just keep rewriting and editing and trying to make it perfect, your book will never be perfect. There's problems with every single book out there, and you just gotta deal with it.
Yeah, and if someone, if someone doesn't like your writing, that can be good because it means you've done something. They can be adamantly angry with it, and that's still just as good, in my opinion. But, you also don't want them hating on your book.
Yeah.
But, anyway, that's definitely not what this topic is. So,
there's a lot of varying opinions on books, and your book will never be perfect, and it will never be the ideal book for every single person in the world. But, a lot of my favorite books, some people don't like, and a lot of my least favorite books, a lot of people don't like. A lot of people like. So, it's really a matter of opinion, and don't try and perfect your book.
I'm going to bring up my favorite book. Just a quick reference. I won't go on a rant.
Okay.
But, so, Twilight, everyone is either, loves it so much, or, really, really, really doesn't like it.
I'm in the latter group.
And I'm in the first group. But, yeah. And that just goes to show, even if some people don't like your book, it doesn't need to be perfect. It'll reach an audience that people love. People will love it. Yeah. I mean, of course, people won't like it too. And honestly, if you've created that giant of a divide, that means that's good, right?
You have a wide reach. I don't know what the words I'm looking for.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our final tip is to print it. And this depends on you. But I personally think it's really cool to print it. Actually, I'm going to tell you my inspiration for printing it. And I saw this person who was they would print out each chapter as they wrote it, and then they'd add it to a pile, and it was this video of a quick through time, compiling them all, and it was just building. And I thought that was so cool. So then I was printing them. And it's so cool to just be able to hold in your hands and see all of it come together.
Yeah.
And then you can mark it all up with your little pens.
Yeah. I printed out one of my drafts for the sake of the person who was editing it. I can't say I've really edited it myself on a printed copy, but maybe it's worth a shot.
Yeah. And if it's not your thing, don't do it. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, that is it for today. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and keep writing. Bye.
Bye.